Hi all, how's it going? I just thought I'd do this video just to recap on Poly. It's kind of quite an important instrument, especially if some of you are going to be building synths for your main project. And also you can obviously rewind this video and listen to my voice over and over again. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a little synth to start off with, and we're going to make an abstraction from that. Okay, so if I create a note in object, which is my MIDI's going to come flying through. I'm just going to put an int in there so we can see it working. And then we want to convert that into frequency because we're going to drive a phaser or sawtooth. So let's create a saw object. Okay, so mtof converts MIDI data into frequency data. And obviously we're going to need a EDAC. And if we also create a multiplication there, so we can control the volume of that saw wave as well. I'm not going to leave an argument in it for now because we want to control this output here using an envelope. So we've seen this before. If we want to use the note in object to trigger a line tilde object, the output of this is going to go into that fellow there. So we're going to take the velocity out of the note in object. Okay, so let's just put in another int there so we can actually see it coming in. So what this select object is essentially going to do is, if it's 0, so it's a note off message, then it's going to bang this output. If it's not 0, then it's going to go flying out here. And what we can do is set up a trigger bang. Sorry, that wasn't highlighted when I did that. There we go. And let's set up a couple of message boxes. So to open it, we're going to go from 0, to 1 in, let's say, 10 milliseconds. And we're going to send that into the line object, or line tilde object. Okay, so that tells the line to go from 0 to 1 in 10 milliseconds. When it's a note off message, or 0 velocity, we want it to go from 1 down to 0 equally in 10 seconds. Or if we wanted a softer release time, we just set that to 50. Okay, so if we turn this on, let's lock the patch first, and if I'm going to play my MIDI keyboard now, okay, so when I play a note on, it's going to come through here, select object. If it's not 0, it comes out here, bangs this, and that will cause the line object to send out, go from 0 to 1 in 10 milliseconds. Okay, and we hear it. Equally, when I let go of the note, it will send out note off, which is 0. That will then bang this, which tells the line object to go from 1 to 0 in 50 milliseconds. So we've got there a very simple synth, and we can play notes on it. Okay, now if I want to play a chord, I can't, because there's only one object to actually play the note. So what I need to do is to duplicate all of this patch to be able to play more than one note. So there's different ways we can actually do this. Let's just try it the normal or the kind of hard coding type of way. So what I'm going to do to make this slightly easier is I'm going to push this up here, and I'm going to have an unpack message. Okay, so there's going to be 2 bits of data coming in. They get squirted out of the separate outputs or outlets. Okay, and now if I want to use the note in, I'll need to pack this data up. And with the pack object, again, it goes from right to left. Okay, so the left triggers the actual pack of data. Good, so it'll still work exactly the same, but all that's happening is it's packing this note in data to be the velocity and pitch together, and they come down here, and velocity comes out here, pitch comes out here. Okay, good, so let's go come down here, and we want to basically encapsulate just this little part. So up to edit menu, encapsulate, and this is my basic synth. Basic synth. Okay, and so what I could do, for example, is copy this across and connect it up here as well. Okay, now I could theoretically just connect this up here, but what we'll find is it will just now just play both of them at the same time. What I want to do is be able to play them individually. This is where the standard poly object comes in, which basically distributes notes. Okay, and what actually happens when it comes in, so it's going to accept pitch, okay, and velocity. And I can now get rid of this pack, and it will send out, depending on how many notes I play, it will send out, it'll tell me how many notes I'm actually holding down. So I'm holding down 3 at the moment. Okay, and so we can use that to allocate to different objects. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this is where we'll use the pack again, and we want 3 inlets, so we give it 3 arguments. 1, 2, 3. So this, the velocity, the pitch, okay, and whichever number that is. So this is going to be a two-note polyphonic synth. Very, very simple. Okay, and how this actually works is the first number is going to determine which outlet the actual pitch and velocity are going to come out of. So let's put this down here. So it's 1 and 2. So now I can play a chord. If I play a third note, you'll see it says 3 up here, but we haven't got another synth connected to 3. Okay, so this is doing it the long-winded way. If you wanted a basic synth patch, we were talking about creating abstractions. Okay, this is just an encapsulation. What an abstraction is I can come into here and let's just save as, and if I set up a folder in st2 and call this vid demo, and call that basic synth. I also need to save the main actual patch in, otherwise it won't work. Patch. And now what I can do is, instead of copying these across, I can just type in basic synth. Okay, and it comes up with exactly the same, but the difference is now is I can update the actual original basic synth, and it will update this fella as well. Okay, so I can replace those, and it's easy to then do any adjustments. You don't have to keep copying stuff across. Great. So once we've got that, we can then make use, once we've got this abstraction, we can then make use of the poly tilde object, which essentially does all, well, the majority of this for us anyway.